So our second shift that we want to talk about is a zero tolerance for errors. And again, this comes down to inventory accuracy, right? So everybody can get enough get good accuracy rates for their inventory, for their order accuracy, with enough brute force, right? We could throw enough people at it to make sure that everything is right. But the key here is to get it right without the labor, right? And that's the key here. And in many cases, which we're going to talk now, we have some customers that even have there's not just mandates, but real regulations where they have to have 100% accuracy rate, and there is absolutely a zero tolerance for error. And I think this is a key point because a lot of people, especially in the warehousing and distribution space, there's a lot of activity, there's a lot of orders, there's people moving around all day. Of course, there's going to be problems, right? And the technical term is shit happens, right? But
Mhm.
I think that people have gotten used to living with small error percentages, and again, it doesn't have to be that way. And we're going to show you some ways that you could eliminate those errors completely.
Yeah, so this is actually another one of our customers, Thermo Fisher Scientific, where yeah, it's zero tolerance. So they actually have animal serum, so pallets of it. And so in this case, they're just tracking a pallet of it throughout their very cold warehouse, which I've been in there. It's like -20 or -40. I can't stand it. It is so cold in there. But they're tracking the serum, and some of the serum has to be in what they call the cage area. Um, so that happens to be in the upper right-hand corner of this picture. And if those items are not in that cage area, if the health department stops by, right, all this is, checked on periodically, surprisingly, and all that stuff. And if things are not in the right spot, I mean, that can turn into a huge fine to Thermo Fisher. So again, zero tolerance. I mean, we're talking $1 million fine, or they have to stop doing this whole business altogether. Where because you know what, you can't manage the serum, successfully. So we're going to have some other company do it. So this was a really big deal. So again, another, touting our own software, but the Xfinity software is tracking these different pallets throughout this pretty large cold warehouse as the pallets move. And one of the examples, or one of the things that has happened is like a forklift operator will go into the cage area and he has to get a pallet that's behind some other pallets. So he'll go and take those pallets out of the cage area that's blocking him, right? Put them off to the side so he can get access to the one he or she needs, and then just drive out with that one, and without putting the other pallets back in to the cage area, the quarantine area. So this system happens to send an alert. We have lights and sirens that go off of the warehouse if something isn't put back in within 15 minutes. If that doesn't happen, it gets escalated to text alerts to different people within the organization. If no one reacts to that, it keeps escalating and escalating. So that's just an example of they can't mess around because they can't afford to have the department come in there and not have everything in the right spot. And of course, and it gives them other things too, like besides, hey, we have an answer for if they come in, we put in the system to track things, but they're learning things about their own inventory, right, through this process that they wouldn't have learned otherwise about forklift operations and whatnot. So you have all that data available to them.
Excellent. That's a great case study, I think, and
Mhm.
this one's really cool too. I love this one.
Okay, I bet no one thought they were going to see this today, this video. I'll let the video play here, but you can see there's actually a little white tag on that one bin that he's dropping in. There's actually white tags. They're just 4 by 6 inch tags on all of these Apple bins. These Apple bins are like 1,000 pounds each. This is one of our accounts where they you may be able to guess who they are. They make apple sauce and apple juice, and they track, I think it's 300,000 of these bins per year. So in this case, they need to know what apples are going in to make this is the juice area that's making the juice. In case there's some kind of recall or some kind of health thing going on, they want to be able to go back and track it. The other thing, so what you don't see here, so this is kind of the end part of it when everything gets put in there. What you're not seeing is when the farmers come in the fall, they have trailer of all of 50 to 60 of these apple bins on the back of their trailer. And what they'll do is they will print out, the type of apple, if it's a Red Delicious or a Honeycrisp, whatever, that's all part of this 4x6 inch label. There's a lot number, who the farmer is and all that stuff. And it's RFID encoded, and they staple it right to the bin. And that trailer they'll actually have go through a portal that's outside. You can't see it here, but the trailer goes through the portal, and we read all those tags right then. So we know, all right, all these were just brought in from this farmer. So now you knew all these 50 bins or 60 bins, wherever it is. Then they may go back into storage, and then we read them again when they go into storage. They may come back in the wintertime or later on in the spring. We read them again. And then finally, when they're actually used in the product right there. So that was super important, as you can imagine, right? We want to know what's in our food and drinks and everything. No tolerance there. Also important to keep in mind, totally automated. That forklift operator isn't doing anything different than he was doing before RFID. So we're not slowing anything down, yet they're getting all this extra visibility.
Yeah, that's great. And again, I think, these different points, it's not just one or the other, right? So that's automation and a zero tolerance for error. They're getting all that tracking, that traceability, and whether it's regulated or not, right? I think that's important to everybody's business, is to have that kind of data.